your friend. Call me again. Call me any time of day.
Are you guys ready for this? I'm ready. Let's assign some Middle Eastern fragrances to some of those in the world of Harry Potter. Shall we? Okay, let's begin with the 4 houses. First of all, I wanted to give Hufflepuff the kind, sweet, generous, thoughtful, precious folk, something that wasn't quite cloying or too gourmand. So I decided to go with Afnan's Modest Doe, which is a La Nuit Trésor dupe. And the reason that I wanted to give Hufflepuff this is because it's super feminine, super sweet, super kind. I just think a really nice person would wear this. And it's got some notes of dark chocolate and cherry and raspberry at the top, so it makes for a really sweet and fruity scent. And I just felt like Hufflepuffs would smell like this. I swear I did not assign Slytherin this one for the bottle, although it just so happens to work marvelously for Slytherin. But I wanted to give Slytherin an amber, warm, spicy, deep, dark, thoughtful, maybe mistaken for evil, but more goth than anything scent, something that was original and interesting. And so I had to go with Lattafa's Teriaq Intense. And the reason that I went for this is because this one has notes of plum liquor and cinnamon that make it a little boozy, a little spicy, very ambery and delectable. This is a sexy, sophisticated, but also potentially misunderstood scent. I love it for Slytherin. Next, let's talk about Ravenclaws. Ravenclaws are intelligent. They put their smart foot forward and they have a lot of knowledge and therefore may have a tough time paying attention to the world around them because their internal world is so rich. So I've always thought of Ravenclaw when I first smelled this scent profile, and I had quite a few different bottles that I could have chosen from in my collection that really dupe a very popular fragrance. And the one that I chose, I think, fits Ravenclaw the most. So I went with Lattafa's Niche Emerati Antique. This is a supposed dupe of BDK Gris Charnel. I love the scent profile of this oh so much. To me, it's a little earthy, but not in an oody or animalic way. It's just like a rainfall, like right after the rain falls. This has cardamom, black tea, and fig, mixed with some florals like iris and jasmine. And although it's said to have coconut and milk in it, I can see a little bit of the coconut. This is absolutely not a lactonic scent. It is definitely unisex. I just think of someone in a coffee shop typing away on a computer, too busy to be bothered, not really great in the social skills department, but not because they're unlikable or because they don't like people or they're too shy. They're just too focused on the next great discovery or invention that they don't have time for this. So to me, this is a perfect Ravenclaw scent. That is Niche Emerati Antique by Lattafa. And finally, for our Gryffindors, I happened to pick a bottle that is also appropriate, but I swear if I did this, it was subconsciously. I actually just think this scent really perfectly describes the Gryffindors. This is Shaghaf Oud Ahmar by Swiss Arabian, and it's supposedly a more fruity Herba Pura dupe. This one is so fun, and it's not quite playful. It's a quite serious scent, but it has so many fruits in it that it makes it kind of a courageous scent, rather a daring scent, also though really likable. And when I think of the friendship of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, to me, this is the red, the bold, the brave, the daring, the caring about their friends kind of scent. Underneath all the fruits is some amber, some woods. There's actually a little bit of oud and leather in this as well. I do think this is quite a unisex scent, although it is leaning masculine. The fruits help it not be a purely masculine scent, but I still think overall it's a pretty masculine scent because it's got sandalwood, cedar, and oud in the base. However, supposedly it also has amber, vanilla, and musk in it. So that being said, I think anyone can carry this through. When I smell Shaghaf Oud Ahmar, I just think of a really loyal, likable, friendly person that would do anything for their friends, and that's why this goes to Gryffindor for me. Okay, let's talk about Harry. I am in the camp of those who never could get on board with Harry. He always seemed really boring. Things just seemed to happen to him. Everyone else in the entire Harry Potter universe was more interesting to me than Harry. So were the plot lines and the characters and animals that were thought of The magic was so fascinating, but Harry himself was just super boring. So I gave him just a traditional masculine scent. It's a good one, nonetheless. But I gave him Grey Ash by Maison Alhambra, which is supposedly a dupe of Gris Dior. It's a woodsy scent. So if he is, in that forbidden forest, at least he's going to smell good. But it's not particularly noteworthy to me, although this does have a little bit of a sophistication about it that maybe through all of his travails, Harry's learned something by those things. This is Grey Ash, formerly Grise, I believe, by Maison Alhambra, but it does dupe Gris Dior. Okay, let's talk about Ron. Ron is goofy. He's your typical teenage boy in a lot of the earlier Harry Potters. So I wanted to give him something that was bright and fun and a little silly. And what instantly came to mind for Ron for me was Paris Corner's Vibrant Vetiver Delight. It is citrusy. It's very aromatic. It's actually great for this time of year. It's a unisex scent. It's super, super bright and vibrant, citrusy, woodsy scent. And this is one of the strongest, most vibrant smells that I have in all of my collection. It is supposedly a dupe for Bal de Frique by Byredo, but I, as you know by now, cannot attest to that. I can just tell you that this is a lovely scent. It's super fun, and it reminds me of Ron. When it comes to Hermione, this was a little tough for me because she's so complex to me. I was in the camp of people that always was like, okay, she's obviously a Ravenclaw. Why did you make her a Gryffindor? Well, as the whole series unfolds, it's obvious she was meant to be a Gryffindor because she values loyalty and taking care of her friends above her intelligence. But Hermione's intelligence obviously saved the day a number of times. So I wanted to give Hermione something that was beautiful, but not extremely feminine, because even though she's in herself essentially extremely feminine, there's something very serious and very grounding about Hermione. What I went for with Hermione was a Yum Pistachio Gelato dupe. And this is my favorite one of the dupes because it has a peanut accord. And it's just a super nutty fragrance, which to me is very earthy, very grounding, very Hermione at the same time. And this is Luscious by Fragrance World French Avenue line. It is a beautiful bottle. It's very elegant and sophisticated, like Hermione ends up becoming. It also has base notes of honey, vanilla, and tonka, and so it's very creamy at the same time as being quite nutty because it does have a peanut accord as well as a pistachio accord here. And so for me, this one fit Hermione perfectly because it's different from the rest, but at the same time, this is a very serious fragrance that has the ability to be playful at times when the right person is around. For Luna, I needed to give her something bright, ethereal, something that is super special, but also a little quirky and weird, just like Luna herself. And so what I actually settled on from all of my collection, and I'm really happy with this selection, is Paris Corner's Coconut Lagoon. And the reason that I settled for this, guys, is because where else are you going to find coconut water, watermelon, and caramel accords together? This is a very citrusy, sweet vanilla. It is absolutely delicious, but it has a lot of other fruits in there. It's super coconut forward for sure, but you can also really get that sweetness in there through the coconut, the vanilla, and of course some of the fruit accords, the lemon, mandarin, and apple that lend it that citrus burst of freshness in the opening, and then mid notes of watermelon and caramel, which just gives it that like funky twist. I love this. It is a gorgeous scent. It's perfect for summer, perfectly unisex, not gourmand at all. If you can see the juice inside the bottle, I've had this for a few months. It looks like it would be a freshie. It is rather a freshie, even though it has that caramel accord. There's no gourmand element to it. It's just a citrus sweet vanilla, and I think this is delectable, and it describes Luna perfectly. The last student that I would like to assign a fragrance has to be one of our Slytherin boys, and I wanted to give Malfoy, our redemptive Malfoy, a fragrance. So I knew it had to be something dark. I knew it had to be something maybe a little arrogant, a little bullyish, and to me, what I settled on was Paris Corner's Prodigy Noir. This is a very complex scent to me. It is dark, it is edgy, it is moody. It could be misunderstood, I suppose, but to me, a very wealthy, arrogant man might wear something like Prodigy Noir, which is why I assigned it to Malfoy. It's bordering on gourmand to me, but it is an ambery, warm, spicy fragrance, and it does have that gothic feel to it. Let me go ahead and read you the notes. It's got top notes of bergamot, warm spices, and apricot, which give it that kind of citrus burst, but at the same time, it never goes quite citrusy. This is definitely what is categorized as a warm, spicy, gourmand leaning scent. I definitely think this is more masculine, but it's just such a beautiful scent. I will have no problem wearing this in the fall and winter myself. It's got mid notes of rose, caramel, chocolate, and tonka bean, and base notes of vanilla, cashmere, cedarwood, amber, and musk. This is so inviting, so alluring, so different because of the apricot blending in with the chocolate and the caramel, but it all sits on a delicious creamy base of vanilla and cashmere. I think this describes Malfoy perfectly because it's bougie, it's dark, and for some of the Malfoy stands out there, it's quite alluring. I'm not gonna lie. If we're gonna give Umbridge a scent, it's going to be the easiest one by far. And I almost went with Marshmallow Blush or Yara or something like that, but I thought it needs to be sickeningly sweet. It needs to be so delectable that everyone thinks immediately it is just as sweet as it seems, and then underneath is that danger, that evil that Dolores Umbridge embodies. So I went with Yara Candy. It is the most sickeningly sweet fragrance that I have in my entire collection. This is by Lattafa. I actually tend to really enjoy this just like everyone else, but I would want to layer this with something that grounds it a little bit more because as a more mature woman, I gravitate towards scents that are a lot less juvenile, a lot less youthful than this. This could provide a stunning layering combination to add a little sweetness to something that may be a little too masculine or something like that. So that's kind of how I plan to use this. But Dolores Umbridge, this is Dolores Umbridge in a bottle. Love it. Does anyone else think that she's like the absolute worst villain that ever existed? I have never felt the hatred of 1,000 suns like I did for Dolores Umbridge in that movie. And I guess that was the point, right? Can't stand the woman. Dumbledore himself needed something that smelled wise, old, coming from ancient lands. He needed something a little incensey and smoky and a little bit leathery, if you will. And so what I settled on as far as the scent was concerned was Ishq Shuyukh Gold by Lattafa in their Pride collection. This smells absolutely incredibly masculine because of that super strong leather accord. This is a leather forward fragrance. There's caramel and saffron in the top, which lends it a sweetness. And this is a beast mode perfume. I love this, but because of that leather accord, you have to love a super strong beast mode non-animalic leather scent in here. It's actually got, according to Fragrantica, it actually has notes of suede and leather, which makes sense because all I smell is a lot of leather here. And to me, it's just a very old, wise smelling scent. I love this smell, and so I would give this a Dumbledore. Perhaps Dumbledore needs a little bit because he is the Phoenix, perhaps Dumbledore does need another touch of smokiness and oudiness to it, but I think this fits him the best, in my opinion. Then we have Professor McGonagall. I had to give her something that was also in that same vein, super old smelling, super wise, super full of mystique, but also feminine at the same time, and that was not an easy task. So what I settled on was Lattafa Pride's Masa. And the reason for that is because this one has a mineral note that is really difficult to describe, but it smells old worldly. It smells like it is full of experience and knowledge and almost like mage or sage wisdom. It's got a lot of spices, but it's actually primarily a sweet kind of fruity scent. Underneath is all of this knowledge. And I thought that was perfect for McGonagall because she's obviously been there and done that. And she cares very much about passing on all of the knowledge that she has to future generations. And so I thought this was perfect for her. And the bottle is that not just like the most stunning bottle ever? I love this. So I gave McGonagall Masa by Lattafa. Okay, Hagrid, he's such a special one. So I chose C.A.C.A.O, which is C.A.C.A.O by Fragrance World, which is supposedly a dupe of Joe Malone's Black Agarwood and Cocoa. And I gave him this because of his Happy Birthday Harry cake when he first arrives on the scene, but also because this has a very strong oud note to it. It's woody and more masculine, even though it's considered unisex. It's a beautiful, beautiful scent, but it's so sweet as well. And I thought it was perfect for Hagrid. It's got some spice in there as well, which might come from a big old man like Hagrid traipsing the entire world and, flying around and collecting things for Dumbledore. So I just thought C.A.C.A.O or C.A.C.A.O, however you would say it, by Fragrance World is just the perfect Hagrid scent. And last but not least, we have my favorite character personally, which is Professor Snape. He is definitely a Slytherin, but at the end of the day, he's one of the good Slytherin, and they do exist actually. So I wanted to give him something that really did him service and that paid homage to the complexity of his character. So I went with Diwani Beirut by Fragrance World French Avenue. What a glorious bottle, guys, and the scent is no less delicious. This is supposedly a unisex scent. I do agree with that entirely, but I think that Snape could smell like this because it smells, again, like someone who has all of that old world wisdom and knowledge. And I believe that this is an original scent that is supposedly inspired by Beirut, the city. It's a woody scent. It's got some powdery notes to it somehow when it dries down. And because of the woodiness, I do believe that it leans a little more masculine. It's got something in it, and maybe it's the benzoin that makes me think of, again, that after earth, that after rain earth smell that is enveloping all of these other notes that make up Diwani Beirut, which are jasmine, cedarwood, sandalwood, pink pepper, peach, lily of the valley, and white musk. I think this is a glorious scent, and it's a pretty complex one to me. It's beautiful. It's not too different. It's in the same category, not scent profile, but the same category as Niche Emerati Antique. And because Snape is a brilliant potions master, I thought that he would have a ton of knowledge and wisdom to pass down. But at the same time, when he's so absorbed in trying to keep all of our heroes safe, the suspicion is cast on him because there's just something that is very strange about him and something that is a little suspicious. And I think this really captures that element of Snape pretty well. So this is Diwani Beirut. And that, guys, is my take on what Middle Eastern scents should be assigned to the Harry Potter characters in the universe. So thank you so much. If you enjoyed watching this, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. How did I do? Do you think that you totally agree with what I have? Do you disagree? Have you smelled any of these things? Do you own these? Have you smelled any of the originals? Are they similar? Let me know what you think down below. Have a good one. Bye bye.